Ever since the release of the original Spyro the Dragon on PS1, Insomniac Games has created quite a reputation for solid, fun, and even cinematic gameplay experiences. With the creation of the Ratchet Clank series in 2002, which redefined combat-based platformers, to partnering with Sony and Marvel for the best Spider-Man games to have ever existed. And the studio is now setting its sights on doing the same for Wolverine in the near future. But ever since Insomniac became part of the PlayStation Studios family back in 2019, it seems they've been on a pretty insane roll with their releases. Spider-Man Remastered released alongside Spider-Man Miles Morales as part of the PS5's launch lineup. Not even a full year later, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart was released exclusively on PS5, with Spider-Man 2 and Marvel's Wolverine being announced 3 months later during the most recent PlayStation showcase. And I've said this many times before, but it is absolutely nuts just how fast Insomniac is able to pump out these games, but recently it's gotten a bit crazier. Let me explain. On April 19th, this past week, Sean McCabe, who's the head of technology at Insomniac Games, posted a tweet in relation to a job listing for a senior gameplay manager to help us build a world-class engineering team for our new multiplayer project. Now, the job listing itself doesn't explicitly state what this project is, other than it being a multiplayer game, or what series this game is even a part of, provided it's not a brand new IP. I've seen people speculate that it could be for Spider-Man, given other PlayStation exclusives like Ghost of Tsushima have gotten multiplayer and expansion DLCs after the game's initial release. Heck, even The Last of Us and Horizon are still rumored to be getting multiplayer expansions or DLCs. Now, of course, I've even had my own speculation that the project could be a DLC expansion to Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, as part of the series' 20th anniversary. And I even joked about it possibly being PlayStation All-Stars Round 2, given how much Rift Apart deals with interdimensional travel, but I highly doubt it'll be either one of those. However, I do believe it could still be Ratchet & Clank related, and here's why. As I've already stated, this year marks the 20th anniversary of the Ratchet & Clank series, and Insomniac is obviously aware of this because A, they are the creators of the series, and B, Community Director for Insomniac Games, James Stevenson, stated that we can't wait to celebrate the 20th anniversary next year. This was from the Celebrating the Evolution of Ratchet & Clank on the PlayStation blog, just days before the launch of Rift Apart last year. And it's apparently clear that there are plans in place to celebrate the occasion. Take the September 2021 NVIDIA GeForce Leaks, for example. Basically what happened was, there was a big leak involving a bunch of games that could, potentially, and probably won't, come to PC in the future. And NVIDIA later confirmed that the list was in fact real, and claims that the games on the list were speculative and used for testing purposes. This particular list featured a number of different games from different publishers, like the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection that was actually announced a few days before the leak happened, and even Kingdom Hearts 4, which was announced earlier this month, and that part really surprised me because I had no idea that was even on the list until I started editing this video. Well, that very same list also happened to feature Ratchet & Clank. It didn't say which Ratchet & Clank game, but we kinda have to assume that it was the PS4 reimagining. So whether or not the game actually makes it to PC remains to be seen, especially with Sony's increased interest in the PC market. But with that in mind, let's go back to this current job listing. In the listing, the term project is not used like Sean McCabe's tweet. Instead, the word game is used in its place. Now, these two terms have slightly different meanings depending on when they're used during a game's development cycle, but they pretty much imply the same thing. And it's this little play on words that initially made me go from thinking a DLC expansion for Rift Apart to a brand new multiplayer game. I guess what I'm trying to get at here is that since Ratchet & Clank's 20th anniversary is upon us, and seeing as Ratchet & Clank are no strangers to the world of multiplayer games, we could see another game in the vein of Full Frontal Assault or the multiplayer modes of the PS2 games, but with a more modern take. I'm not saying with 100% certainty that it will happen, I'm just saying the possibility is there. Considering the amount of Battle Royale styled games and multiplayer DLCs there are nowadays, an entirely multiplayer Ratchet & Clank spin-off, whether it be local or offline, would be the perfect excuse to bring multiplayer back to the series. It's obviously not going to be the next main game in the series if it does happen, as I think the team would want to put more focus on continuing where Rift Apart left off in terms of story. But at the end of the day, this is all just speculation on my part, and for all we know, it might not even be a Ratchet & Clank project. I mean, they could be bringing back Resistance for all I know. However, I will say that if this game is in a state where it's ready to be shown off, it could very well be announced during PlayStation's next showcase, just like how Ratchet, Miles Morales, Spider-Man 2, and Wolverine were announced during these showcases. Time will tell, I guess. But that's all I've got for today. Be sure to leave a comment about what you think Insomniac's new project is, Ratchet & Clank, Marvel, or otherwise, down in the comments section below. Also be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell to stay up to date with all things Ratchet & Clank. As always, I've been Blue Knight. Thank you so much for watching and for the constant support. I'll see you guys back here next time.